Hey y'all, so today I have been doing some work on my truck. I had to replace the power window motor on my 2000 Chevy Silverado 1500. I just got done with that. I was going to do a YouTube on how to do that, but it turned out that it went completely south and not at all easy, so I just aborted it. I want to delete that video. Y'all just forget I even mentioned it. Anyway, so now my window works, which is sweet. Anyway, so I was messing with the speaker in there, and then I got to thinking, you know what, I need a thicker gasket than what they put on there when I got my speakers. They're pheonix gold speakers, and they sound really good, but the gasket that they sent with it wasn't that great. So anyway, this is what it sounds like right now. Let me, I've got a Pioneer doubled in radio. Let me go in and
Thank you for making us your choice.
so like I got a little bit of bass on here. This other setting's a little bit more bassy. Like this is a pretty bassy song. And if you listen, you can hear it. So, I want to eliminate that, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So, first step, pull this door panel off. I've already pulled my 2 screws out that are right here, and pulled this out. This just pops in, like that. Goes in like that. So, let me go ahead and pop this loose. Let me get this set up somewhere. So, hopefully, I can get this somewhere where y'all can see that. It's going to be easier said than done. Yeah, this is tough. I really need 2 hands to do this, but I'll try it with one. Let me find my screwdriver. I had it a minute ago, but like I said, I've been doing all this work on the front door, and so all my tools are just kind of, the tools that I need are just kind of everywhere, and hard to find. There it is right there. It was hidden under the rail. Alright, so on here, just take it and very easily, be very careful, because you only have so many clips that come on this door panel. But just take a screwdriver, slide it in behind there, slide it down till you'll find a clip, and just kind of ease it out like that. Go very easy. I've done this a few times, so I've kind of got the touch. It gets them all, mainly all on that side. This side you can kind of, there we go. Yeah, this is hard to do with one hand. There it goes. Alright. So that gets that. Now then, you see these little clips right here? Get the light on there. You only have so many of these clips. And like I broke one off right there. I didn't lose any this time, but you only get so many of them, so be very careful when you do pull that panel off. Anyway, there's my speaker. Just a little oval. This is where it's going to be really hard to do alone. Pull out that bit. Stick this Phillips head in there. Alright. Let me see. That screw's already come loose. Sorry. You can tell how loose these screws are. It's not helping my vibration problem any. So alright. Let's pull all these screws out. With this magnet, I rarely worry about the speaker just falling out because most of the time it will do that right there. It'll just stick. So I can pull this out. You can see my gasket's already in pretty sad shape. So pull this up here. These are the connections that I made when I put the speaker in, and I made these so that you can't switch them up. You see how they're opposites. Let me go ahead and pull these apart. Let me set the camera down for a second and pull these out. I don't know if y'all. Alright, so I just got the speaker out, and you can tell, maybe if I can get my light right, these are switched. This is a male, this is a female, so you can't put it back together but one way. Now let me show you what I'm doing to solve my gasket issue. We have some of this red gasket material left over from something, and it's getting real dry rotted, real brittle, and starting to crack. But you can tell how thick that is. That's like 1/16 of an inch or more thick, maybe 1/8. I don't know. Probably more like 1/8 inch thick. We had it left over from something that's starting to dry rot, so it's not really good for anything. So it got me to thinking, and then I was like, hey, I could use this stuff for my speakers because it's so thick. So let me grab my phone case, my phone holster, so I can set this up and y'all can see this. Alright, so as you can see, let me take that light off for a second. It was rolled up in a can, that's why it's wanting to roll up on me. As you can see, that's about right in size. This is the cutout from my front speaker gaskets. This is one of them. This is for the passenger side that I haven't done yet. So that's what that came from. We're just going to trace out some new gaskets, and I'll go ahead and do both of them at a time when I do it. So here's how I do it. This rear speaker is a little bit harder because of these ears that are on it, but you can just give yourself a little bit extra width by aiming your Sharpie out and just go around just like that. Make sure you give yourself extra width, like I said, otherwise you're just defeating the purpose of all that you just did, because you're going to be touching the metal. Now then you go and fill that in right there. Now then give yourself, like, you can kind of judge about how much of a lip you have here. I'm going to start wide and then go out bigger. So I'm going to start with like maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch width, and I'm just going to trace that out by hand all the way around. And it may not be exact and it may not be pretty, but it's going to serve its purpose. We'll be able to do a side-by-side comparison hopefully when we get this one speaker in, because I haven't touched the passenger side yet. So hopefully we can turn it on and we can see what we get. So let me set this aside right now. A little dusty. Set that aside, hi trooper. And then I'll cut that out with my pocket knife. Like I said, give yourself extra width, because that's what you want. You want as much surface area as you can, so you run the least risk of having the metal frame of your speaker in contact with the metal frame of your door. So it's kind of slow, but it does it. My knife's not too dull, but it's not that sharp. And these curves are a little bit of a pain. y'all can't see it in the video, but as I'm cutting on this, I can see it starting to crack. So it wouldn't be good for using as gasket material on anything other than this, where it's not going to matter. It wouldn't hold any liquid or air, most likely. So there's our oval. Just to make sure, we'll take it. We'll just kind of set it on the top here. About right. Flip it over. And like I did on the last one, when I cut this middle out, just start back over in here so when you make your cut, you're not getting into your actual gasket. Come out wide. You can always trim it down, but come out wide of your mark, because everything, remember, you cut your outside edge, you cut that large anyway. But just give yourself a little bit of extra width here to help account for that, and extra width won't hurt anything as long as it's not gonna mess with the way that it seats in that hole. So you can get this gasket material at hardware stores and all kinds of places, and yep, should have figured that was going to happen. My knife is pretty sharp. Anyway, just take it and set it over and see. Like, I need to trim that down a little bit. Wow, that's really bleeding, isn't it? Yep, that's why you be careful, which I was not. So, take this, trim it down closer to your line. This part is really hard to do with a pocket knife because it's pretty precise. The knife's sharper than mine. Ooh, wow. Probably wouldn't be too bad. Well, I cut myself pretty deep, didn't I? Okay. Anyway, so just work it around. I'm getting pretty close to my line here, just because I'm figuring that that's going to be a better seat. Like I said, be very careful because you don't want that to happen to you. It's like you're bleeding like a stuck pig. Stop putting a band-aid on it a minute. Alright, looks a little bit better. See how that fits. Still a little bit small. Looks like it needs to be trimmed out a little bit on the ends. I'm going to go on down to my line on these ends because it's pretty tight down there. The front speakers were much easier to cut out than this because they were round. Well, not easier to cut out, but easier to get them to fit right. Because they're round and you're not dealing with this funky shape right here. It's not like they were an oval. See if that fits any better there. Yeah. It's getting closer. They can actually make that work. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go with that. One thing I should have done was left a little bit on these corners. I wasn't thinking about it, but I should have traced around them. Because that's really where your contact is going to be, is right there. I'm going to go ahead and redo that. Remember, extra width. Yeah, I wish I had thought of that before I cut this other one out. I am going to go ahead and take this one, trace out my inside though, since it seems to be right. Your cuts don't have to be super smooth. They just need to be decent. They just need to be mainly the right size gasket. The cuts really don't matter. You don't want a lot of splits in it though. It's not like there's any specific shape this has to take. If you're going back with stock speakers, you really shouldn't have this problem. However, I would recommend going with a better quality speaker than going back and buying some AC Delcos, or whatever brand they call it. Just because, like the guy, we went to Stereo and Video Center here in Tyler. My mom and dad got the speakers from me for my birthday, my 16th, and so we went in. We stopped at Best Buy first, which was right across the street, and we were looking, and we found out that there were so many different sizes and shapes and all this, and Dad was like, well, let's just go over there because they'll know. And sure enough, we walked in, and I can't remember who we had, but we told him what the truck was, and he said, well, that'd be a whatever in the front, whatever round, and that'll be a so-and-so oval in the back, and he rattled it off immediately. And so we got what we needed. I installed them myself. They weren't that hard. don't know that I would do it for anybody else if a friend came and asked me, because I don't want to mess anybody's system up. Anyway, that wasn't that hard. But anyway, he told us that the stock speakers, we were lucky. This truck is a 2000, so it would have been 14 years old at the time. And he told us that we were pretty lucky to get the amount of time out of those speakers that we did, because the manufacturer speakers that come in the trucks just had a real flimsy paper across it, and the ones that we got actually had a little bit better material on it, of course, because they were higher quality speakers. We went with Pheonix Gold. They're not a super high quality speaker, but they sound good. He told us later on, if I decide I want an amp, I'll go with it just fine. No problems there. I haven't put an amp on it. I doubt I will. I did it again, didn't I? I doubt I will. But if I do, it's nice to know. He said that they sell a lot of them for cars and trucks, because they are a higher quality speaker, but they're cheaper, and they do pretty good. Anyway, so I need to trim this one end out a little bit here. I've got blood over everything out here from when I cut myself. I'm fixing to go and get a band-aid. As soon as I get this one trimmed out, I'm going to go away and get something to put on that. That's better. I'm going to pause the video right now and go in and take care of my finger, since I wasn't careful. Yeah, apparently it's pretty deep, so y'all just hang tight. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I just got back. Put a band-aid on my finger, stopped the bleeding, because it was getting pretty bad. It's getting all over everything, and it was really a pain. Okay, so this gasket's pretty much there. Matter of fact, I'm actually gonna call it good, just because if I need to, when I go to put it in, I can trim it a little bit more. I'm leaving the gasket that came with the speakers on here, just to kind of help give it a little bit of extra padding. Let me trace out this other one and get it cut out before, or just trace it out before I put this one on, just to make it easier on me later. I'll show you in 1 second, as soon as I get done tracing this out. I'll show you in a second how I put the screw holes in it. It's a real scientific method. Not. Anyway, gets that traced out. That one's ready for the next one. Alright. Now let's go over here and take this gasket. Hope y'all can see. I never know if y'all can or not. So here's my gasket and my speaker, and here's a drill bit. It's like just the right size. So Here's what I do. I take this gasket and put it on here like this. Get it where I want it. This part y'all can do just about any way y'all want to without it really mattering. Just do it this way because it's easier. Flip it over like this. You need to get at least 2 holes drilled in it before you try to put it up there. So, as a matter of fact, we might can actually just put this one up without having to drill any holes. Just because of the shape of it. So, let me hook my speaker cords up. So now I need to get this gasket seated like I want it, which is difficult with it being in this position. So, like that. I'll then stick that in there. And as a matter of fact, take the drill bit now. So I have it up here. Just like that. Take a screw through the gasket into my hole like that. Same thing right here. And it came out of place. Oh well, we can get it back. Magnet can be really annoying when you're working with speaker, but it's necessary. Okay. Okay, one more. Gotta get it back where it goes. Watch your finger when you're doing this too. It'd be really bad to put a drill bit through your finger. Be very careful when you do this. You do not want to slip and run a 6-inch extension through your phone. Suck them up tight so they're not bouncing around in here. You can tell how much of a better gasket that makes. See how it's like that? That's a much better gasket. Let me pop this door panel back on here. I'll show you how to do that like this. It's not that hard. Dust it off. Be careful if you're doing this. Alright. Your door panel goes back on. Just practically reverse operation. Stick it up there, line it up, pop your clips in. Just make sure you're lined up. That goes there. Just pop it in like that all the way around. Get it. You'll know when they clip in. hard not to know. So, let's take our driver here and set these 2 screws back in here. Just like that. There you have it. Now, this, you kind of have to pry that back. Hard to do with one hand. Pry this handle back and slide it in behind there. That goes in like that. See if we can find a bassy song somewhere on the radio to run through it, see if it buzzes worse than the other side. Buzzing a little bit, but before, like I'm at 24 now, and used to, I couldn't get it up to 24 because it would just be buzzing so bad. Most of the time I have my listening position to the front anyway. Anyway, so that's a real quick video, well, not real quick, it took 30 minutes. A real quick video of how to get a better gasket on your speakers. I'm going to wrap up these other 2 and call it a day. Call it a night, rather. It's pretty dark outside. It literally took me all afternoon. Well, not literally, but it took me half the afternoon to get that window motor fixed because it was such a pain in the rear end to get in there and fix it. I have no idea if I fixed it the way anybody else would fix it. I mean, getting in there to pull it out and all. Anyway, that's a story for another time. So, there you have it. I'm going to knock out these other 2 speakers, call it good. Thank y'all. Be sure to like, comment, even subscribe if you want. If you have any requests for demos on what to do, feel free to holler. I think my next project is probably, my next major project is going to be cold air intake. I've been collecting some data for that, some mile to gallons, and some 0 to 60s through town. And so it doesn't look like it's that hard. I'm going to try to post a how-to video on it when I do install it. It's about $300, I think, from Napa, so it'll be a little while before I get it. Anyway, let me know if you like this. Let me know if you have any other questions. Like I said, if y'all have anything y'all want to know about pulling apart on these trucks, holler at me. I've pulled about most everything off. I've pulled this panel off. I've pulled this whole dash bezel out. I had Stereo and Video Center install the radio, so I didn't have to mess with wiring that up. I installed my light switches here. That's for that backlight y'all saw over the headache rack. That's for spotlight on the top. There's also a video on the headache rack up too that you can look at for all that information. Ran wire. I actually installed the aux cord because they didn't do it when they put the radio in. So I did pull the radio out for that, but I didn't have to wire anything yet. I've pulled practically everything apart on the truck. My main thing that I've worked on is door panels. Anyway, alright y'all. Thank y'all. Have a good night. I gotta get this done.